mini altar book was one of my favorite projects to work on. It was a failed 100-day challenge that turned into something that I really enjoyed filling up, and I made an entire playlist showing the process of putting these pages together. And I know you've all been wanting a second altar book. So throughout the month of August, I'm going to be doing a mini series where I work in this altar book from start to finish. So it is only a skinnier book, but it is slightly larger than the previous one. And so I thought I would bring you along for the entire process from start to finish so you can see how I put it together. So this isn't necessarily a step-by-step tutorial. This is more of an invitation to follow me for the journey of this altar book. And if you want to alter a book along with me, then you can do. So the book that I am choosing, which I know I'm making you wait here, there's a bit of suspense with what book I have. So this is a little Ladybird book. So in terms of size, it is a little bit larger than this truly mini altar book, as I was calling it, but this one is a lot skinnier, which I thought would be perfect for this little series, so I could show you from start to finish. And this book has a really interesting mix of both full color images and also text as well, so I thought that it would be perfect for this project. And I don't normally gravitate towards birds, so I thought that that would be, you know, a little bit of a challenge as well, but obviously there are flowers present as well, and I can of course add them with collage and things. So I just wanted to show you the spine here, just if you're wondering, if you haven't done an altered book before and you're wondering which book you should pick. So it will be the same regardless of the thickness of the spine, but if you can see here, there are the different signatures that you've got bound into the book. So I'm not doing a very good job of showing you here, but this one has, I think, 4 signatures. So a signature is basically just where you've got a group of pages here. So if you can see here, this book has 4, I think it is, separate signatures, and they are sewn into the binding. So this, for example, is one of the centers of one of the signatures, and if you can see here, this is where you've got the stitching. As you can see, this would definitely have benefited from me actually prepping the book properly, but me being me, I just sort of went for it, and you know, it didn't fall apart. I ended up you know, taping it in places, keeping it together that way, and I don't know, I kind of like how chunky it turned out anyway. If you are working with a chunkier book, then prepping the pages like that is something you are definitely going to want to do for sure. So with this book here, as there aren't that many pages, what I'm probably going to do is maybe just take out one of the pages per signature, just to give me a little bit of breathing room. But the book isn't that chunky, so I think I'll be okay. So what I'll do is probably just pick the ones from the center. So I've got my first signature here, so I'm just going to pull from the center. So obviously that means that the pictures then won't match up, but that's fine because that's not what we're going for. So I'm just going to very gently take this out from the center. So this just means that then there's room for bulk to be added to the journal with like collage and things like that. And also these pages, they won't go to waste because I will like obviously end up like cutting them up or using the text from them and what have you. So I'm just going to pop them to one side. So like I said, I think just one from each will be more than enough just for the book being this size, and we'll see how we go. So this is the center of this one. And I'm really excited to work in this little book because I really love the skinny format of it, and so I think it'll be really fun to have as like a little self-contained project to work on. So that's from that one. And then let's go for the next signature, which is here. I really love the colours on this one. I think this is definitely going to have to go back in as maybe a cutout, or I don't know. I haven't really got a plan of what necessarily I'm going to do on these pages. What I thought I could do, because this isn't going to be like the previous junk journal challenges, you know, where I've done like a prompt list and things like that. Like, we're not doing any of that. This is a very relaxed, laid back, unofficial altered book August, you know. And so what I'm gonna do is just bring you along for the process, and I'm probably going to lean on some of my catalysts and curiosities prompts that I have been collating as part of my fortnightly newsletter, which if you haven't seen and maybe you'd like to sign up and receive some journaling prompts every other Friday, then I'll leave a link down below, totally free. And so there's just like little creative musings and prompts and ideas and like little quotes and things you can use. So if you're looking for some ideas, that could be a good place to start. And I think that's something I'm definitely going to dip in and out of for working in this book. So now that I have taken some of the pages out, I thought the best place to start would be with the cover, because obviously it's seen better days. I'm not using a book that is like pristine or anything like that to do this kind of project with, just in case you have somehow got this far and you don't like the idea of me altering books, which I don't know why you would have actually, but yeah, obviously this has seen better days, and a child along the way, I can only assume, has coloured in some of the letters, which I used to do all the time as a kid, colouring in the little centres of like the letters D and R and A and things like that. They've done it with a lovely blue and pink pen, which you know, is definitely a choice, but what I thought I might do is maybe see if I can cover this section, and I definitely do want to preserve the illustration, but I think I still want to add something to it, like to give a little bit of a altered look to it, but I'll definitely be probably trying to cover up the text somehow. Not sure what I'll do with the spine, kind of tempted to leave it as it is, and then the back, I think I'm going to get rid of this blue because it's very bright and I don't tend to lean towards blues, so I think not having this blue here, covering up this, maybe like putting some paint around the birds to sort of cut them out somehow, is kind of how I'm imagining it in my head, but obviously as it always goes, it might not look like that once we actually get going. So with the wildflower book that I did, as you can see, I went really quite minimal with this one. So I did nothing on the back cover. I left the spine as is because I really liked the text, but as you can see, it really had seen better days. And then for the front, all I did was I just cut out a flower from an old gardening book. And added that onto the top, and that was how it looked for the longest time, probably like 18 months of when I was dipping in and out of working in this. And then I discovered modeling paste and I decided to stencil onto it, and it was one of those things where it kind of was the perfect addition to it, and I think really helped just to give a pop and finish it off. But yeah, as you can see, I went really minimal, and I'm thinking of doing something similar to this in terms of I don't want to make it look like it's not what it is, if you know what I mean. Like, I've seen people do, don't get me wrong, really like beautiful, lovely altered books, and you can't tell what book it is at all. But I think just purely because of the illustration on the front of this one, I personally don't want to cover it up, and I feel like some of you watching would also get really mad at me if I decided to cover this up. So we're not going to cover it up, and I do want to lean into the fact that it is one of these little Ladybird books. So what I have got is some clear gesso. I've come prepared this time for working in this. So I think I'm going to add a layer of this first, and then maybe see if I can add some collage or some paint. I think this will just help to kind of seal the surface and give me something to work on and just prep it nicely. And then I'll probably end up using some of this just on the pages as well, because they do have ever so slightly like a little bit of a sheen. So I think it will just come in handy just to give that bit of grit to the pages, but without necessarily covering it up, because this is clear, not white gesso. So I'm just going to apply the gesso to the top half here, the bit that I want to cover up and come in with some paint to, because I don't really want to have like a gritty surface across the entirety of the illustration. But you know, as was the case with the other altered book that I was doing, I was definitely learning as I went. So I've never done a cover like this before. So we are definitely learning together, which is why I said this is less of a tutorial and more of a just like, let's do an altered book together. So I've just gone ahead and added the clear gesso just to the top section of the front cover, and then also along the spine and on the back cover. So you can just see it's kind of slowly starting to dry clear, and it's created a nice textured surface for me to be able to come in and add some paint onto. So in terms of paint, I'm going to try with a buff titanium here as a starting point and see how we go, because I'm not really quite sure how this is going to look or how it's going to turn out. And I am kind of thinking in the back of my mind, I do want to add like some collage papers to this as well. So I'm just going to see how this goes, I suppose. And I want to try and add it, yeah, see, I want to try and add it lightly like this so that it kind of like blends in a little bit with what's going on. So let's just see. I was hoping I could just cut out the little bird on the front here. And the reason I want to come in and add collage to this as well, rather than just paint, is I think it will end up giving it much more of a dimensional look and hopefully not look too flat, I suppose, in terms of like having just the paint or even like just the collage. That's something I've been trying to do. I know if you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably heard me talk about this before, but having that like mixed media look but still, I suppose, rooted in collage, is something I've been trying to do for the longest time with my work. And so every page I do, every journal I do, I guess it's just, you know, learning and experimenting and trying new things. And so that's why I figured it would be quite fun to do like something different in terms of the cover. Like I could have just popped some collage over this and, you know, called it a day, but I really wanted to try out a different technique and see if I could maybe mix having the cover painted but then also collage, and still, like I said, keeping true to that illustrated look of the book and not kind of completely getting rid of that. So that is what I'm hoping for, and then I guess we'll just see where we go in terms of the pages. But I might not finish this cover like all in one go, like I mentioned with the other cover, how I did it in sort of stages. I might, you know, get to a certain point and think, you know, I'll just leave it for now and then go and work on some of the pages and then come back to it. But I just think this will help to get me started and give me a bit of a guiding direction in terms of where I potentially want the like book to go, because this is definitely going to be more of an art journal-y type book, like less junk journal-y, because obviously I'm just altering a book. So obviously I will use like recycled materials as I tend to do in a lot of my stuff, but I think this is definitely less of a junk journal and more of a just general altered book, art journal. We're just going to try all sorts of things in this and see where we go. So I'm trying to like gently blend this in because I don't want it to be such a harsh like divide between like here is the book and here is the paint that I've added. So I might come in at the bottom here actually, and maybe add some paint as well, but I'm just trying to gently go around these flowers, which are really pretty as well. And I think what I will definitely do, obviously once I have decided that the cover is the way that I like it with whatever I've added onto it, I will definitely seal it. So if you have any tips of the best like ways to seal a cover like this, if you've done an altered book before, or like an art journal like this, I'd love to know in the comments your recommendations, because that is not something I've done an awful lot of, because I tend to, like I said, just do collage. And so yeah, this is going to be definitely something that I will need to add some sort of sealant of some description to make sure that it doesn't all like flake off. So I'm just going to bring some of the paint further down the cover, like I mentioned, just to blend it in a little bit. I really love this section here with the flowers and the way that it looks. Like it's not I don't know how to describe it. It's not completely like a crisp outline like I've done with the bird here, but it's just sort of, I guess the way that I've done a bit of dabbing here, kind of, it looks like a lot softer. And I know I'm pulling the paint down now into areas where I didn't prep it, so hopefully it's not going to be too bad. I'm kind of just doing it very lightly, just as a way to, yeah, like I said, hopefully blend this all together a little bit. And it kind of feels nice and like dreamy almost as a background. And I think this is going to look really nice with, I'm just imagining, you know, like the vintage style book paper, like maybe some stamping or something really like faint and delicate onto this. I think will look really nice. So let's see, I might as well go for the whole thing here now. And I'm a little bit undecided here whether I should leave the little ladybug or whether I should cover it up. So let me know what you would do. Would you keep the little ladybird or would you cover it up? I think it's kind of sweet, but it could also be like the perfect place to put a label. So let me know. Or should I kind of like work with it? Maybe I could get rid of just the ladybug in the middle and then put something there. I don't know. I kind of really like the way that it's cut out, and it's not like getting in the way that much, but let me know what you would do. So some of the text is still showing through here at the top, so I'm just going to come in a little bit on certain areas just to push it back, but I don't think that it's the end of the world really, because it's that charm of, you know, at the end of the day it is an altered book, so you will see bits of text, and I don't want it to look too like opaque at the top here, like in a big block, because I'm covering the text and then not blend down, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't want to go in too heavy with the paint there. I definitely want to keep it more of this, like you can see the brush strokes and the texture. Like I'm not trying to do anything too perfect or precise here. So I think that's about it for the cream. And I'm wondering, should I make the whole book cream or should I just do that? Maybe I could make the back cover cream and leave the spine. I'm not sure. This is the joy of this being just like a follow along, is that like we can make these decisions as we go. I'm really liking the way that this is looking though, and especially the way that the flowers are popping. I definitely think that might look really nice with some white pen perhaps, but in terms of like an initial like prep layer for this altered book, I think this is looking in a good place. So If you are following along with this little altar book series, let me know what book you've chosen and how you are starting to prep it. Maybe if you've got a plan of what you might want to do to the cover of your book. I'd love to know, and I will see you in the next one working on this altar book.